raw peanuts and a piece of cassava. These are all Jesse had as he walked down the street eating. He was hungry. He was very late and knew that he couldn't sit down to eat what his mother had packed for him. Time was moving very fast, and he knew he had no time to waste. As Jesse walked along, he couldn't help feeling nervous. He should have left home much earlier, but the bad weather and rain made it difficult because he didn't have an umbrella. His mother made him wait until the rain stopped before leaving the house. But that was the least of his worries. Heavy rains in the dry savannah brought a lot of challenges to the locals. There were flooded muddy roads and riverbanks flooded to the brim, making it difficult to cross. Getting to work and school on time became a big challenge. Jesse had spent most of the previous night anxious, constantly waking up because of the heavy downpour. The iron sheets above his head made so much noise he couldn't fall asleep for a long time. To make it worse, the roof was leaking right above his small bed. He had to wake his mother up in the middle of the night to tell her, because his bed was getting soiled. Jesse's father had left for another town to find work, and his mother had been forced to take care of their 3 children alone. It had been months since the last time Jesse saw his father, and he missed him a lot. Every time he asked his mother when father would come back, she would only tell him to wait until the long holiday season. But that was so far away. Jesse's mother couldn't fix the leaking roof at night. So she told him to sleep on her bed, which she shared with Jesse's 9-month-old sister. He found it strange that his sister could sleep so soundly despite the noise made by the raindrops on the iron sheet roof. Early that morning, Jesse's mother couldn't cook any tea for the family. All the firewood and charcoal she used was soaked in water. The only food her 2 elder children could eat were the raw uncooked peanuts and leftover cassava. It wasn't much, but they were grateful to have something to eat. The 9-month-old was still being breastfed. Jesse arrived at the riverbank and found a few other students standing there waiting to cross the flooded river. The wooden footbridge they used every day had been washed away. But a few parents from the area had come together and rented a small boat to help the children cross the river. As Jesse approached the other children, he saw them and helped 7 of them enter the boat. They sat down with their school bags either on their backs or over their shoulders and waited for the men to start rowing. This wasn't a big river compared to others in this province, and the kids often crossed without any assistance during the dry season. "Jesse, you have to line up here with us," remarked Paul, one of Jesse's school friends and neighbor. Jesse moved where his friend was and joined the queue. There were about 10 children ahead of him, which meant that he would enter the boat on the 3rd round. Realizing this, Paul moved to the back of the line to stand behind Jesse. This way they would cross the river together. "Guess what happened last night?" Jesse said. "What?" Paul asked. "Our roof started leaking while I was sleeping, and my bed got wet. I had to go and sleep on my parents' bed with my mother and Tina," Jesse explained. Paul reacted with a shocked face and wide-open mouth. "Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't rained on while sleeping yesterday, but our kitchen was flooded when we woke up. My father had to scoop all the water away and then my mother cooked our breakfast outside. It was very cold," he said. As they were speaking, a few more children arrived, some with their parents in hand. They watched as the boat moved along the river to the other side. A small group of people stood there, and they helped get all of the children off the boat onto the land. The man on the boat motioned to 2 women on the river bank to enter the boat, then he turned it around and started rowing back to the other side. The children were anxiously waiting for him. As soon the boat arrived where Jesse and the other kids stood, 7 students entered the boat and the whole process started again. Jesse, Paul, and a few other students would be carried on the 3rd round. They waited patiently for their turn. Soon, the boat was back again and the 2 boys were among the first to get on board. At this point they were very late for school. As soon as the boat stopped on the other side, they all got out and quickly started walking to school. They saw the other group of kids ahead of them and hurriedly caught up with them. Jesse and Paul's group was made up of older children, and they told the other group of smaller kids to walk faster, which they did. Although this side of the river had also experienced a lot of rain, the soil was mostly sand, so it wasn't as muddy as the other side. The kids were able to pick up speed and move fast, saving valuable time in the process. However, a few minutes in, the kids came to a complete stop. In front of them stood a herd of elephants grazing. Among them was a small calf, struggling to follow its mother around. The kids had been taught by their parents and teachers to be wary of elephants with calves. Not knowing what to do, the smaller kids started crying and a few of them started running back towards the river. One of the older ones turned around and motioned for them to keep quiet and stand still. But two of the small kids continued running away while crying. Pascal, who was a year older than Jesse and Paul, was in grade 8 and a class prefect. He took up his leadership role and said, "The four of you should hold the hand of one kid each and walk across that side, far away from the elephants." He pointed to an area with an old track. "Pick the kids that are calm and not running. The rest of us will get the ones who ran away scared." He continued. Feeling brave, Jesse and Paul stayed behind with Pascal as the other four older kids went and took the hands of four little kids and started walking with them around the herd of elephants. Fear was eminent on the faces of the kids, but they moved to the side away from the animals, feeling safe in the hands of the older children. Once these kids had walked past the elephants and got back to the road, Jesse and his team turned towards the crying children. They walked towards them and reassured them nothing bad would happen. "You have to stop crying," Jesse said. "Elephants don't like crying children, and if you don't stop they will come after us. You don't want that to happen, do you?" "No," the little kids said in unison. "Okay. Then come with us. We will protect you and nothing bad will happen. Trust us," Jesse assured them. Paul, Pascal, and Jesse each took hold on a kid's hand and started walking around the elephants, using the same route the other kids had used. However, halfway there, the young calf started jumping around. It left the herd and headed towards the kids. Startled, the little kids started running again. But the three older ones held their hands tightly and didn't let go. "Don't run. You'll make the big elephants come after us," Jesse said. The small group of kids stood still. They watched the calf run around. But as soon as the calf saw them, it turned around and went back to the herd. However, one of the big elephants turned its head and saw the kids. It looked at them for a few seconds, then started walking towards them. "Okay, let's get going," Pascal said. "Which direction?" Paul asked. "This way," Jesse answered, as he started walking in the opposite direction. "Why are we going that side?" Paul asked. "Because the elephant won't track our scent. The wind is blowing in the other direction," Jesse replied. Jesse led the kids around the elephants through a series of bushes. When they got to the other side, they turned back and noticed that the elephant had stopped following them. Happy, they continued moving in the same direction until they caught up with the first group of kids who had went ahead of them. "Phew, that was close," Jesse said. "Not so fast," one of the other kids said. "Look at that elephant." They followed the kid's finger to see what he was pointing at. A lone elephant stood a distance. Why was he alone? Why wasn't he grazing with the other herd? Unknown to the kids, this lone ranger had left the herd due to aggression and conflicts with the older males. He was mature enough to fend for himself. However, he would pose a threat to the kids and any humans on his path. The kids decided to use the same strategy they did earlier. They moved as a group to the right side of the elephant. But the animal turned and started walking towards them. This startled the kids who stood still for a minute. When the elephant didn't make a further move, they agreed to continue walking. However, the elephant started moving again. The kids were starting to get angry, and Jesse could sense fear creeping into the group. They stopped walking, and the elephant also stopped. "Let's move faster and climb over those rocks. I don't think the elephant will follow us," Jesse suggested. The kids agreed with the idea and walked very quickly towards the rocks. Since they were used to climbing rocks while grazing their family's cattle, this was an easy task for them. After that they went around a few large bushes and joined the road they had left earlier because of the animals. They looked back but didn't see the elephant. "I think we are safe now," Pascal said. "Yes, that worked," Jesse agreed. "Let's keep walking quickly because we are very late for school. I'm sure we'll find the head teacher standing at the gate waiting for late-comers." The mention of the head teacher sent shivers around the group. He was a very tough man. None of the students would dread coming face to face with him. And so the kids increased their pace, chatting and laughing at the scary event they just experienced.